Dr. Bukati. And congratulations to all Nigerians, wherever they may be. There's nothing that gladdens the heart of any well-meaning person than to see that these people are rejoining their family. About 9 people we understand were neutralized in this operation. This, they say, the security operatives are saying, this is not a release. This is a rescue. Yeah. They went after them. They placed surveillance of them. They got intelligence. In fact, some of the details as to the fact that some of the terrorist families were also being taken. Security operatives use other measures, options, alternatives to make sure they put pressure on them, and they've been on them for the last 1 month, we understand, to put in pressure. And one of the stories and the intelligence we got is the fact that they couldn't just sweep in on them like that. If not, there will be casualties on our own person, and that's why it has taken this long. But from your own expert point of view, what is your initial analysis of the subject matter?
No, I mean, Shewan, permit me also to, say a few words on Senator Alindume, not because he praised me, but he has been a great advocate for the people of northeastern Nigeria. And I hope and pray he will continue to join you, even if he has audience with the president. He can still have audience with the president and continue to be a great advocate for our people. He is someone who is not afraid to say the truth, and he says it the way it is. And to be honest, without Senator Alindume, our people in northeastern Nigeria who have been suffering insecurity for a long time would have suffered even more. We thank God for you, sir, and I pray that you will continue your good work of advocating for your constituents and the whole of northeastern Nigeria. Now, Sheun, you saw me smiling from the beginning, and I am using this opportunity to smile because hardly do I come on this program when there is a very good news. And this is a fantastic news. The rescue of these students and teachers is a fantastic news. I want to take this moment to congratulate every single Nigerian for this successful operation, and in particular, congratulate the service chiefs, the National Security Advisor, and the presidency for a well-done job. They did a very good job in this operation, especially if it is rescue. And I make this point very clear, showing that I hope and pray that it is a rescue, as the presidential spokesperson says, because what we saw in the past are terrorists abducting our children in mass, taking them into bush and holding them in horrible conditions for a long time, and rescuing them after they have been paid millions of dollars, millions of euros in some cases. And what does that do? It incentivizes them to go and abduct more. And the more you pay, the more they will get the skill, the ability, the motivation, and the equipment to conduct more operations like this. And therefore, I hope and pray that this is an actual security operation. It was not a negotiation in which they were given money or anything like that. The second point I want to make, Sheun, is that we should not gloss over the suffering of these students and teachers. These are ordinary Nigerian children, men and women, girls and boys, who were abducted, and they were held in the most horrible condition any one of us can ever have the nightmare of living. And they stayed there for 56 days in the bush, no good food, no place to sleep, under the sun, in the rain, and in different weather. And many of them were being molested, and they were being threatened, and they didn't have their families around them to support them. They have gone through a lot, and therefore we should not gloss over their mental health. We need to do everything we can to support their health, not just their physical health. I know most times government will take them to hospitals to examine them, but if we do not want the trauma, the post-traumatic stress disorder to stay with these children and teachers for the rest of their lives and even get transferred to their children, what is called transgenerational trauma, we need to treat it. And therefore I want to call on the government of the Governor Sheyi Makinde, for example, to take their mental health seriously and to provide them with the mental and psychosocial support that they will need. Now, the third point is a point that has been raised by Senator Alindume. While we congratulate and are very happy over the release of the Oyo children, there are 42 children from Musa in Borno State that were abducted on exact the same day that the Oyo children were abducted. These 42 Musa children They are still in captivity. None of them has been rescued. Before them, there were the Ngosho people who were over 150 of them abducted. And there was another incident before that. And of course, we then had another one 10 days ago where 36 students, 25 females and 11 males writing their NECO exams, all between the ages of 15 or 16 to 19, abducted, and they are still in captivity. I want to call on the federal government, the service chiefs, the national security advisor, and everyone involved to prioritize rescuing these children, just like we saw in the case of the Oyo children. And finally, Sean, the point I would make finally is also to call on the federal government and the security and law enforcement agencies to find a sustainable way of stopping this. We cannot continue this pattern. What is the pattern? The pattern is that schools are being used as soft target, and as it is right now, education is under attack in Nigeria, and we risk producing a generation of lost children, a lost generation of children, if we do not stop this. As we speak right now, hundreds of schools are still closed in the north because schools are being attacked. So soft targets are attacked. Our forests are used as sanctuary by terrorist groups, and then they make outrageous demands, in some cases for money, for the release of their arrested members, and other demands, as we saw in the case of Oyo. How do we stop that? The only sustainable way is for us to stop these incidents before they happen, rather than going through the continuous vicious cycle of abduction, public outrage, government effort, mostly ad hoc government effort. The issue is then resolved. We congratulate the government, and then it happens again. We cannot continue that, and therefore we have to find a sustainable way to stop this. And the only way we can protect schools is to protect the whole of community, is to take the fight and to use the non-kinetic efforts against these terrorist organizations that are wreaking havoc in our country, and to stop them once and for all.
So quickly, you are the expert here, and you've done a lot of research on extremism and violent extremism, not only in Nigeria, but in sub-Saharan Africa. Give us an understanding. These are the facts as we know it today. All the kidnapped pupils and teachers have been rescued. 39 pupils and 7 teachers were said to be abducted from 3 schools. That's what we understand. Sadly, Michael Oyedokun, a mathematics teacher, was beheaded by the kidnappers. From what we understand, it was a coordinated attack in 3 different locations. But what is very interesting in all of this is the fact that we understand that intelligence agencies are being on the tail of the abductors for the last month or more. Almost, it's about 57 days they've been in captivity. DSS led the intelligence, got it to the military, joined in the operations where the joint security operation leading to these rescue happened early this morning. It was an early morning raid in the camp of these abductors where they've been holding them. We understand that they've been holding them around the Oyo National Park area. That's for a while now where we know they've been holding them. The security forces, we understand, reportedly launched that early morning raid on the kidnappers' hideout based on actionable intelligence that they've gotten, and we understand that they are transporting them to Ibadan. First, they will meet with the governor, and every other processing and documentation will happen. What else do we know? Which is part of what I need you to help us analyze. It will take you nothing less than 2.5 days if you want to travel by road from Oyo State to the northeastern Nigeria. The abductors, who we understand, are a faction of Boko Haram. Boko Haram has its domain in northeastern Nigeria, predominantly in Borno State area, in some part of Yobe and Adamawa State. How come they were able to do this coordinated attack, and they are able to hold prisoners or hold the abductors for 57 days? They will need a lot of logistics. They will need a lot of intelligence. They will need a lot of human cover. What do you make of this scenario? From the northeastern Nigeria, the den and the hideout of Boko Haram sect, a faction operated in Oyo State successfully, for almost 2 months. From your intelligence and what you know about this terror group, what can you say?
Yeah, I mean, Sheon, you are right that the government says it's a faction of Boko Haram, but let's understand that this is a faction of Boko Haram that is not resident in the northeast. This particular cell of Boko Haram has always been resident in the north central. And I told you in one of our interviews how Shekau sent someone called Abubakar Saidu. I mean, Sadiq right now, he is called from the northeast. He was commissioned. About 7 of them were commissioned by Shekau in 2014 to come to north central Nigeria and form a Boko Haram cell there. And after years of efforts, they succeeded in establishing a Boko Haram cell that operated initially in the Alawa forest in Niger State. And they operated there for a long time before they then moved to the Old Kainji National Park, or the Kainji National Park, which is in partly, you can say, Nasarawa, Niger State. And it was from the Kainji National Park that they were attacking states like Kwara. They were attacking places, some parts in Nasarawa, and also in Niger State. And it was the Kainji National Park has different corridors, many different routes into the old Oyo National Park. And my understanding is that it was from this Kainji National Park that they moved to the old Oyo National Park and then conducted this operation, and therefore came back into the old Oyo National Park and kept the children there. So these are not Boko Haram operatives living there about in northeastern Nigeria, traveling hundreds of kilometers to come and conduct this operation in north central Nigeria. These are resident local cell in north central Nigeria. But this tells us many different things. Number one, that Boko Haram has spread over the past 10 years or so. You know, initially when they started, it was only in northeastern Nigeria and a few places in northwest Nigeria, places like Wudil in Kano State. And then they expanded to other states like Adamawa, Gombe, and then they started launching attacks in places like Kaduna, Abuja, around 2011, 2013, and they expanded to Niger, Cameroon, and Chad through the border. But then what we have seen over the last 3 to 5 years or so was their expansion into north central Nigeria, and most recently into Oyo State, a spread that we had never seen before. And there are 2 major factors responsible for this. Number one, whenever you have insecurity growing in a specific geography, it is intrinsic in the nature of insecurity to spread like wildfire. And the more insecurity develops in one part of a country, the more it will spread to others. Secondly, the second factor is that Boko Haram's ideology is intrinsically expansionist. Their project is to conquer the whole of Nigeria and to impose what their perverse, their misinterpretation of Islamic law. And that is why whenever they get any opportunity, they will try and expand. The third factor is the issue I started alluding to. Wherever you see them operating, like I told you in one of our interviews shown, wherever you see them operating is either a border region or it's a mismanaged park or jungle. The old Oyo National Park has been mismanaged by successive administrations for many years. So is the Kainji National Park. So is the Alawa Forest. So are the forests in Zamfara, in Kaduna, in Katsina, and other places that are being used as safe haven, as sanctuaries by these terrorist organizations. And one of our duties as a country, one of the most important responsibilities of our security and law enforcement agencies is to recapture those forests, is to enter into those forests and take them over again. Because right now, Nigeria, we are not controlling a part of our border. A part of our territory is under the control of terrorists. And the Nigerian military has been making a huge effort to flush them out of territories. But the problem is we do not have a system of holding those territories and administering them. And part of the problem is the weakness of the police, because you cannot expect the military to reclaim a particular territory and stay there. You need the police to administer, to establish law and order, and to make sure that the terrorists don't return. Yeah. But if you leave the military, they would leave that geography that has been reclaimed, and the terrorists will come back and take over. That's the problem in the northeast, that's the problem in the north central, right, and that is the same problem in the northwest.
The president said, finally, just in about few seconds, Dr. Bukati. The president said, I must commend the government of Oyo State for working cooperatively with us in bringing this unfortunate incident to a successful end. President Bola Tinubu also says, my government will get justice for these children and their teachers and for the family of Mr. Oyedokun, who the terrorists gruesomely murdered. What do you think the president means? 9 people neutralized. You understand that some of the terrorists were arrested. They arrested. How much of a victory could this be for intelligence gathering and prosecution?
It is very, very important. Arresting, capturing terrorists alive, especially leaders in these kinds of operation, is very important for intelligence gathering. But justice is very, very important. It's critical for deterrence and for sending signal to other terrorists that this government is not business as usual. And therefore, what I would urge the presidency to do is to fast-track investigating these terrorists and to prosecute them transparently so that Nigerians will see who were responsible for the abduction of these Nigerian children and to see how they would be punished through our court system. And if they were, if the court sentence was for them to die by hanging or by firing squad, I would expect the presidency or the Attorney General of the Federation to sign that execution warrant and for us to start to see some of this judgment being implemented. Because right now, people are waiting on death row and no governor, no president is signing the death warrant for them to be executed. And part of the problem is no one is seeing these people punished, and therefore people think everyone can get away with it. Forgive me, Sheun, to reiterate my call for the Borno student. The Lhasa student, 36 of them are in captivity for 10 days now. The Musa students, 42 of them have been in captivity for 56 days now. The Gosha women and the Burutai abductees, all of them are in captivity, and we are calling on the federal government to step up efforts to rescue them as well.
Dr. Bulama Bukati is an expert in violent extremism tendencies and a lawyer equally. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you, Sheun. I will sit back and watch your interview, the
with
rest
my
of
very
your
good
interview
friend.
with my older brother.